Welcome to the lovely ladies of late night. You know what that means? Your night talk just got better. I'm Maya Kai along with Angie Sanks Johnson. Of course, Thea Kamara is globetrotting.
Yes.
So she's been out the last 2 weeks, but she will be back. So we've been having guest hosts. And Sean will be joining us shortly as well. But we do have a guest that's joining us tonight. And this is going to be, if you thought last week was good, get ready to turn it up a notch. Because
I'm so excited.
Something like when you bring on a person that's in the media industry that understands how things work. Matter of fact, I can't wait to throw the first hot topic at her. As a person who is a PR consultant, she is a marketing specialist. She is a social media guru. She is a media instructor. She is all things amazing. Let's welcome to the lovely ladies of late night, LaDonna Raeh.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're so excited to have you here with us today.
Yes, so exciting. I was like, oh, I can't wait to have LaDonna.
I know.
You know, the energy. You know how this goes. So glad you could carve time out of your busy schedule to be with us. So tell our listeners a little bit about LaDonna Raeh. You know, you have LR Media Group. So tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, so they can get familiar with you.
Well, I just want to thank you for having me, first of all. That's so important because, you know, when you're always doing the interviewing or talking to people or pushing them through, you're not the one that people get on stage at all. So I just want to say thank you. So I'm LaDonna Raeh of LaDonna Raeh Consulting. We went ahead and made it all about LaDonna Raeh's name.
Come on, LaDonna.
Yes. After people kept telling me that's what you should have done in the first place. But it does make sense because of the branding piece behind it. But I do PR for celebrities, everyday people, organizations, and for those nonprofit organizations. I love nonprofits. It's just so much fun because of the causes. Along with that, I am a media instructor. So I teach social media, marketing, public relations, website development, drone flying even. They saw my social media and said, we need you to teach that class. How did you know I was flying drones? We went on your social media, stalkers. So yes, this is what I do. But I love the teaching aspect of I'm living my best life right now because I love the teaching aspect because I'm doing adult education. Yes. And they want to learn and they sit there and listen and hang on every word. Mm-hmm. That is what I want to do. I don't want to watch the clock. I don't want to say, okay, time's up. You know, your consultation is only for an hour, so you got to go. Mm-hmm. No, students, you pour into them. I'm working on my days off and I love it. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I have a radio show too, but
I was going to say, no. I was going to say, well, we should have added on to the list that you're also a media personality because actually you and I crossed paths, I'm not sure how many years ago, because of radio. And we did a show together, a collaborative show on WVON that was Cool Out Radio. So we actually have radio connections as well. So tell me about your LaDonna, the radio personality.
Ooh, LaDonna Raeh show. Oh my goodness. So I started doing online radio back in 2012 when Whitney Houston died. I just got sick of people talking about, oh my God, she was the greatest. Wait a minute, you just called her a crackhead. And now she died and now she's the greatest. I just got tired of that. So I wanted to have a show called Life in the Public Figure where we talk to people while they're alive so we can tell them how great they are now instead of waiting until the afterlife. And so I put that on ice, and then Maya and I met on WVON back in 2016, I believe it was.
Yeah, today.
I was in my 20s or something. So lies and garbage. But you know, I sat there and I watched Maya, and she was so intelligent. She came at me with good stuff, and we just vibed. Next thing you know, we were celebrating our birthdays together, and and she's just an amazing soul. But we were able to connect on WVON via a talk show for Cool Out Radio, and that became a family of ours. Needless to say, I got a text message saying don't come back, but that's okay. No big deal. But, you know, I still kept my show going. And then, like I said, I put it on ice at some point. Mm-hmm. And then I rebirthed late last year and actually really put the pedal to the metal this year. I'm never stopping because now it's a platform for artists, content creators to have their music heard and to
that's wonderful.
Interview TikTokers, influencers. I'm not looking for blue check marks. I'm just looking for good content. So that's what the show is all about.
That's exciting. That is extreme. I was so excited to meet you because my former life, I wanted to do that. I started off as a legal secretary in a law firm, but then I worked for two wonderful entertainment attorneys. And you may be familiar with them, Tilly Melnick and Linda Minch. So yeah, I started off doing, and this was many years ago. I did like a little bit of PR because I was trying to get into it. And it was just amazing. I had an opportunity to work with Bernie Mac a little bit. So that was exciting. So when Maya told me you were coming on the show, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I want to hear everything about her. So
one of the things you do, LaDonna, which I think is interesting, and you like turned me on to it. I'm still kind of slow going. Clubhouse, which is just absolutely taking off. But what I love about what you do with Clubhouse is, besides moderating rooms, you're really teaching people how to use this as a tool to really launch your brand, your content, or whatever it is. Talk a bit about how you got involved with Clubhouse and how you kind of see this fitting into the social media picture.
Geez. My son got me into Clubhouse. He's 27 years old. I had him when I was 3. And he invited me into Clubhouse. And I was like, listen to the name of it. I don't have time for Clubhouse. And this was in November. So you'll see that I've been a member since November. However, I finally got on it one day and I never got off. I've been on it ever since. I mean, at some point, I got to stop burning the candle at both ends. But when you go on there, there are rooms that may in fact be interesting to you. And it's like listening to a podcast because you can't really see anyone, not yet anyway. You're listening, but you can raise your hand and actually talk to the person speaking.
Okay.
There may be a stage full of speakers. There may be just one speaker. It doesn't matter. But I Master P has been in there. Different types of different celebrities. I'm not listening to only what they have to say. I'm listening to people who do this stuff every day. So you've got content creators in there, people who know how to use social media, who know how to navigate, who know how to network. And with this pandemic, we've been in the house.
Yes.
So this has I'm in the room with people. In fact, I'm supposed to be in one right now, but I told them I'll be there in a minute. But they just became my family. Yeah. So what I'm doing with Clubhouse is I teach people how to moderate like a boss. So I have my moderation room where I teach you how to moderate. So moderators are people who start rooms and they have topics that they just want to talk about. I can put a topic in there saying Ricola versus Halls, and people will come in like, oh, well, I do Ricola and I do Halls and it's natural. It just doesn't matter. People come in and they find you, you know. So you follow people and they follow you back, and then you can create clubs. But I'm part of so many clubs. I'm like, my hallway is full. So I teach Clubhouse at the school. It's not part of the curriculum, so don't tell the administrators. Okay. But I want the students to know what's out there. They can really benefit from this and capitalize on this. So the way to use Clubhouse, first of all, you have to know what you're on there for. If you're on there to get likes and follows, then do it. But if you're on there to get knowledge and gems, get them. Right. If you're on there to network with your business, don't be afraid. Have your pitch ready. And I'm telling you, Clubhouse pushed me to get my bio together because I'm always helping people get theirs together and mine is lacking. Yeah, that's a term my students taught me, by the way. Shout out. Okay. Mine was lacking. And I went back in there and I was like, I gotta clean this up. I have like 2.1 thousand followers because I spoke in so many rooms and people were like, oh man, you know what you're talking about. But I wasn't together. I had to get myself together. Then my Instagram, that's how they DM you. You know, the lingo is, I'm gonna DM you on your IG. I had to learn that too. And what that means, people that are listening that don't know what I'm saying, direct message me on my Instagram.
So they slide into your DM?
Yeah, they slide in. And a lot of people slide in, trust me. But at the same time, you can slide into their DMs when you hear something you like and you want to connect and network. I mean, it has been a networking frenzy going on in there to the point where I literally fall asleep on Clubhouse. For me, I also brought my radio show to Clubhouse. Okay. So every Monday, I'm interviewing someone live. Last week, my very first guest was Rick Party.
Hey,
Chicago.
Yes.
Shout out to Rick Party.
So
Yes.
Let's get into some of your PR expertise. Are you going to hang out with us for a while throughout the duration of the show?
I guess I can do that. Of course. I was hoping you'd ask me to.
There you go. Couldn't resist. So let me throw something at you. So, the hot button. So I can throw this out there because it's a safe zone right now to have this topic while there's just the three of us here.
This is a safe space?
Yes, it's a safe space for some of us, within the lovely ladies. This might be a little too controversial. So right now, this is a good topic. So when it came across I was like, you can miss me with this. And I really want your perspective of being a PR person. So Mayor Lori Lightfoot goes on record and saying that she defends granting interviews only to Black and brown journalists. And obviously, this hit the hot button with obviously a lot of non-Black and brown journalists. Talk to me about this from a PR standpoint, because I personally don't feel it's appropriate. And even if that was your intention, I don't think you should have spoken it into existence if that's what you're doing. I just don't think, as a mayor of a major city like Chicago, that type of attitude isn't acceptable. But talk about this from a PR standpoint.
Do I have to be PR first, or can I be LR first?
You can be LR first. Then
LR first.
Yeah.
First of all, isn't she married to a white woman? Okay. So I don't get it. Like, I'm not, what kind of conversations are, okay. That was LR. From a PR perspective, you don't want to paint yourself into a corner. Publicity is publicity, and you're not always going to be in control of that. So you want to control the narrative. I would never exclude. You cannot be exclusive. I would never exclude any group of people when it comes to journalism. Yeah. Journalism, you need it. And there's not enough of us to sustain the journalism attention that you need. So why would you cut your nose to spite your face? I'm still on the white wife though. But okay.
But it's not even that. I mean, the reason that I find it to be actually kind of just absolutely hypocritical is, okay, so you come from a minority community and we know what it means to be disenfranchised. You also come from the LGBTQ community, which means we know how it feels to be marginalized. So why would you then duplicate marginalizing behavior when you're in a position of power?
Well, this happens over and over again. I mean, even if you go back to, what is his name? Derek Jackson, he talks about how you shouldn't cheat, and this is why women and men cheat, whatever he was talking about, I forgot now. And then he ends up cheating. So just because you know what it's like and you're in a position of power doesn't mean that you're going to always make the right decisions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Someone got in her ear and she didn't make the right decision. I would never advise that to anyone, actually. Anyone. I don't care if your demographic is one or the other. What you want to do is you want to get that journalism coverage. And if you can expand your market share and create that narrative, even across, crossing the borders, always do so. Always.
And the other piece, and this is, I was never really all that enamored with Lori Lightfoot in the first place, but it doesn't matter because I don't live in Chicago, so she's not my mayor. But it's interesting because here's what I would tell people who do things like this. Thank you for the token action that you took of giving preferential treatment to people of color. What I really want you to do is do something in the Black community that's a change in a city where violence is rampant, poverty, poor schools. So if you want to do something that's going to impress me with your power, preferential to journalists doesn't do it for me. How about you actually do your job and address the crime that's escalated in the city and how CPS reopen schools because they don't really technically have the right resources to feel comfortable and the teachers don't want to do it. How about we tackle a real issue that affects the masses, just not the few?
True. And you spoke about job, and speaking of job, why not have a program specific to getting more Black and brown journalists? Okay. Because we do not dominate the industry.
Right.
If you're gonna actually do something, then let's kind of bring down that poverty level by providing some type of program that would get us job ready. There's so much disenfranchisement going on when it comes to Black and brown communities. And I see it even in the school that I teach. We have adult education and they come through and the first thing I say day one is like, let me tell you my story. I was a teenage mother. This is not about me, but I have a history. So I want to share that with them so that they don't necessarily make the mistakes that I made. It took me forever to get through school. It doesn't have to take them forever. Right. You know what I mean? Life happens. Back to our mayor, she has to lead by example and address the actual issues. You opening schools, and yeah, true enough, the parents will be able to go back to work, maybe. But now you're subjecting those children to God knows what.
Yeah.
My kids went back to school. They went back in February. I was leery. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I felt like I was dropping them off at boarding school. But I got used to it. Goodbye. Okay. So we have a rule. Wear your face mask. Carry your hand sanitizer. But when they walk in the door, everything has to come off. And it goes right into the hamper and then right into the washing machine. They have to shower and then they can move around in the house. We can't risk, whatever's out there, because children are not going to be as conscious as we are. Heck, I may have gotten COVID from Walmart, but
So let me throw this at you, because we're kind of, moving this along. We'll get to like some topics, but this is kind of a hot topic. So Pfizer gets the approval to be able to vaccinate younger populations of children. How do you feel about vaccinating your two sons? Because they're obviously in that younger demographic. They're under 12.
Great question.
Absolutely not. It is not. They're not even licensed. This is not, I'm not into the vaccinations right now, and I don't care who knows it, because right now I know that they push this through really quickly, and not enough people have died from blood clots, in my opinion. So I need to know what this is all about first before I subject my children to any type of brain aneurysms or whatever neurological risk that this may cause. We've already done that before. Fisting children is not good. When I say fisting, let me clarify. When you allow for a doctor to catch up on their immunizations all at once because you forgot and you need them to go to school tomorrow, and you say catch up on everything, you don't know what that's doing to your child. And there's a lot of children out here with ADHD, people, and we don't know why. So this new vaccination, they can keep it.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm lucky I don't have to haggle with it. I would probably not be very pro giving it to my children, because I'm not really pro in regards to adults. But I tell people, you make your own decisions and you do what works for you. It's not for me to tell you it's right or wrong. It's not about right or wrong. It's about what you feel is appropriate for your body. And that's what I tell people. You consult with your physician if there's concerns that you have, and then you make the decision accordingly. It doesn't matter how other people feel about it. It's how you feel about it with informed information from your physician. That's kind of my stance on it. So with the children, though, I was like, part of what bothered me about the initial vaccination was our most precious and important part of our population is still vulnerable, which was children. So you can vaccinate all the adults, and here we are leaving these children still unprotected, who, by the way, are around adults most of the time. So this presents an interesting part to the equation, because some people it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Other people are like, no, they're a little leery about kind of passing it to their children. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Other things that are rolling along with the pandemic. So we also heard that the next round of stimulus checks in regards to households with children is set to come out. And then recently, Governor Pritzker announced that the Illinois rental payment program is actually going to go into effect. It should affect roughly over 200,000 families. It's going to include rental assistance. This is 1.5. This is a lot. This is a lot of money. $1.5 billion going towards rental assistance, as well as a portion will also go towards mortgage assistance. What's your thoughts on this, ladies?
Well, I can't wait for the mortgage assistance to come through.
You saw me. Woo, woo.
Well, you're only going to qualify.
Right.
You were
That's the
able
thing.
to make your mind you, there's qualifications to this. It's not going to be a random, we're just doling out money like it kind of was with the stimulus money. Regardless to know if you were in work or out of work, people still got money. Right. This is going to be incumbent upon you actually being behind on your rent. I want to say with rental assistance, you can get up to $25,000 depending on how far you were back in rent. That's one. But your landlord does have to be involved in the process. They're not just giving money away. They're going to make you prove that you're behind in your rent and obviously in your mortgage. So this won't be as easy to acquire if you did not really have any issues.
Now, I'm afraid that this may promote bad behavior. Right. If people know that this is going to happen, they might start getting behind, just to get that money. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but then that wouldn't make sense, because how far behind do you have to be? I don't know. But I do know that I just don't want to chance my roof over my head. Right. And how do you qualify for some assistance? I mean, I just don't know about that.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, if you're a renter, your landlord does have to be involved in the process. To pretty much say, yes, this is what was behind. But I'm gonna tell you something. LaDonna, you just said you wonder if people would actually get behind. I'm gonna tell you something. You have some shady landlords out here to be like, look, let's go get that 25,000. You were behind on it. I take this, you take that, and we walk. I'm just gonna tell you that. So I honestly believe that there's a shyster somewhere. Hey.
Hi, Sean.
LaDonna, thank you for being on the show. I don't want to interrupt the conversation. Ran into a little technical difficulty, but I will not be denied. I wanted to meet you. Thank you for being a part of the show. Have such a beautiful smile.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well. And thank you for having me.
So this is Sean, obviously. I'm going to pass the baton over. I was always holding it down to you arrive. We're talking about J.B. Pritzker's, rolling out this $1.5 billion mortgage and rental assistance. And it's a good thing. It's not going to be as easy to come by, though, as the stimulus money.
Oh, yeah. I think it's a tremendous thing that the governor is doing. When I saw the article, I got so excited because I know so many people personally who've been affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. People are not able to meet their rent. They're not able to meet their mortgage. In some locations, in some states, people who knowingly had COVID-19 went into work anyway because they want to make their bills. So people are really willing to sacrifice so that they can take care of their families. I think this is a wonderful, phenomenal thing. I believe it's all things good. This is a good thing. Up to $25,000 for mortgages. All of this funding is available. And then on top of that, he's providing resources for people with their children as far as education. I think we touched on that on the last show. I was telling you that his family is over a school, a performing arts and regionally gifted program in Chicago. The school is called A.N. Pritzker on the north side of Chicago. So I'm just pleased with all things that the Pritzker family is doing, not just for people in Chicago, but all of Illinois. So it's to cover everything.
The other part of this that I think is important, and I kind of proposed this question before this rolled out, is that I felt really bad for a lot of people who were income-based, owners of properties. Like, this is how they were driving their income.
Yes.
So when people could not pay their rent, obviously for some people where this was the majority where their money was coming from, this made it complicated. So at least from a standpoint, there now can be some relief for people that were using, real estate as income-based for them. Exactly. It's good to see now that they can get something in return back for kind of saying, in some cases, letting people not pay, knowing they couldn't pay. So this, at least, there's a little bit of balance to probably a group of people that have been neglected, so to speak.
I agree with you, because one of my classmates from high school, I remember him commenting to me that he has income-based property, and he felt that some people who were able to pay probably just weren't paying.
They weren't.
But his bills were still due, and his notes were still due. And he was like, how is this fair? And, understandably so, he's looking for that rent to meet his financial needs to support his family. So I think you're right. This is a good fold for everybody, a good mix, to get Illinois back. I think they kind of took this a little bit from Italy. Italy did this like right at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. Like I want to say January, February, March time, they announced that they were canceling the mortgages. So people in Italy were able to just breathe a sigh of relief because, hey, I don't have to worry about that, because that's pretty much the core foundation of everybody's financing is your mortgage. Everybody has to have a place to live.
Well, we know they weren't going to cancel mortgages. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
There's only so much in this country they're willing to do. I'm laughing how much money we're doling out. I was like, you know what? Let's not even talk about ever trying to balance the economy or a budget, because we've rolled out so much money between 2020 and now. There's no way we could ever come from underneath this, not within my lifetime. So we start talking about reducing the debt of this country. It's not going to happen, and it's definitely not going to happen after this.
Yeah, trillions of dollars.
What about this $5 a gallon gas? I mean, can't they get some of that money? I just can't believe that that's like I'm at the pump and it's ridiculously high. The Cook County taxes are eating it up. So none of that goes towards anything except what?
Well, I mean, the fuel issue comes from, there was an accident at I almost said Petro. I don't know why I was going to say Petro. Company, right? It's fuel, but no one says that here. That pretty much put the East Coast with supply, supply and demand automatically says we're going to pay more for it because of that. That loss has to be made up someplace else. And so now we've jumped up in our gas prices just because that's the way that it works.
Because it's an outage. Yeah.
At least we're not like 100 cars deep waiting to get gas, because that's how bad it got.
Yeah.
At one point out there. So,
yeah.
And I think I read some things about people hoarding gas because the shortages had gotten so bad.
Huge shortage. So yeah, I did hear that, Sean, that they were hoarding gas.
Hoarding gas, putting things in containers that are not appropriate.
They like plastic bags.
If you didn't learn anything from COVID, you learned in a crisis, people have poor response. Yes. So the idea is, wait, it's a gas shortage. I think that I should put a whole bunch of gas in, unsanctioned containers. And actually, there was a story about a lady, I want to say in South Carolina, who did that, got in a car accident and her car blew up. And you know something? I said, I want to say I feel sorry for her, but I don't, because she had extra gas in her car. Yep. So that was just stupid. But yeah.
And I think it's the same lady that I read about. She was putting it in hefty cinch sack bags.
She was doing all kinds of wrong stuff.
Yeah.
Also, whatever happened to gas cans?
They're sold out.
They're $16 for half a gallon size.
They probably sold out. Look, shortage. They probably people bought because most people don't have gas cans, because chances are you running out of gas is slim to none. So they sold out because they don't overmake gas cans. So I can understand why they didn't have any. You probably could have sold them online and made some money. Just went to Menards or something and stocked up and sold them like double the price. Gas can, $30. Opportunistic in crisis.
$30 a gas can.
I mean, they did that this winter with the shovels. I paid $40 for a shovel.
There were people. Okay,
did it shovel for you, or did you actually still have to get out and touch
it? Yeah, I had to go buy the shovel and shovel the snow. So
I just would have had somebody come shovel. I would have paid them to come shovel the snow.
They wanted $100. They were just gouging because of the snow. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Pandemic. That's called pandemic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So
that does exist.
So go ahead. So what were we going to say, Maya?
No, I was just saying it's sad, but it exists.
It is. It does. So we all agree that Governor Pritzker is doing a great job in regards to.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
that either.
I didn't say he's doing a great job. Let's not confuse the issues here.
Okay.
I think it's great he rolled out some relief for people, but I'm not going to sit here and give him this great grade as the governor. Okay. Better than what was in before, though. I'm gonna give him that.
Listen, exactly.
But I can't say I'm overly impressed with him, so to speak.
Okay, so let's agree that the relief is a good thing.
I mean, it's not gonna do nothing for me, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm being selfish. Whatever.
Yeah. I agree, Sean.
You agree. Now, how do you all feel about Jaden Smith? I was so thrilled to read that article about
hold that thought, because I think we have to get to our PSAs about May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is.
That conversation is going to get big, so we need to take a little break first.
We do, and I'm mentally tired too. So after getting here, so let's do that. Let's get to our PSAs.
Sometimes I sleep under the bridges. Sometimes in cardboard boxes. Yeah, they're the best, man.
I used to be in a shelter, but I haven't been in one in a while because I don't drink and I don't do drugs anymore. And that's where most of the kind of crowd is, in a shelter.
I can't get a job here or here or here. I can't have any apartments because they won't accept felons. And I even went through an agency that took felons, and they'll give a pedophile an apartment before they will me because I had a drug charge. I wasn't even dealing drugs, I had possession.
I mean, I've been to a lot of interviews, and they look me up and down and just say, we'll call you, leave a number. How am I supposed to leave a number if I ain't got a phone?
And just the hard part was just becoming part of society again. It's like they didn't want me. They didn't want me to be part of their society anymore.
I mean, it's emotional. I'm trying to get my life together. Don't give you any reason to call me a bum. No matter what people say to me, I remember I'm a human first.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Archie.
Hey.
Hi, Teddy. You know, one of those ones. Yeah.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Archie.
Hey.
Hi, Teddy.
Good morning.
Hey, Hi, Teddy. Don't know if you've heard, but Archie took his life last night.
And then I did a toast. I said to health and happiness for all. And I wanted everyone to be as happy as possible. That's super important. You know that. You know I think that. It was so cute.
Trying to figure out if it's trying to leave or not, and I'll just walk over and go, you want to go out? It's the cutest thing, but I'm also confused by it. I just don't know what's going on with it.
You good? Yeah. You sure?
Beautiful, beautiful. I love those PSAs. They're really heart-wrenching. I'm enjoying the fact that this new article or new story that is out is about Jaden Smith, who is the son of Will Smith, the actor, and Jada Pinkett Smith is the actress. They're both his parents. He already has a food truck that he disseminates all throughout Los Angeles and different parts. I think it's like in the Skid Row area. Jaden said that his mission is to spread love to communities experiencing food and or housing insecurity by offering water along with fresh, high quality and delicious sustainable meals. And he's doing this for free for people who are in what they call the Skid Row area. Mm-hmm. And so now he wants to expand this vision to a brick and mortar restaurant where the homeless are allowed to come in and dine for free. And if other people who are starstruck, or they want to be a part of the in crowd because they think they may see Will or Jada or any other celebrity, if you come in and you're not homeless, you are required to not only pay for your meal, you'll have to pay for the meal for the person behind you. So it may be a little upwards, but that will all go towards generating cost and revenue to purchase more food. And I think that's a really good thing to do as far as all things good. How do you all feel about that?
Well, how do you determine who's homeless and who's not?
I think it would be a self-identifier, or they may come in and say, I'm down on my luck. I don't have a place to stay. I don't have any food to eat. Because one thing is for sure, I've had homeless people approach me and they'll say, hey, can you give me $5? I'm hungry. I haven't eaten. So I think they'll just come up and say it, possibly if they're mentally aware.
Well, I think it's wonderful that they actually he's feeding people, but we also need to provide shelter for them as well. So I'm sorry. I think that family has a lot of money. Impress me. I mean, I think it's great. Don't get me wrong, but I think we need to focus on trying to get homes for these people to live in. That's feeding them is one thing. Who are we doing it for? Are we doing it for publicity? But at the end of the day, after they're well fed, they're still on the streets. So let's put some programs together to try to provide shelter
This is a really complicated situation. I'm gonna tell you that. Homelessness, the solution for this is not easy.
It's not.
I see this on a daily basis, so to speak, and it's not an easy solution to this. So here's how I see it. It is not his responsibility to save the world. He's doing something out the kindness of his heart.
Exactly.
And I like it. Actually, I would prefer that he keep the food truck, maybe get more than one, so you can go in areas where pretty much homeless people are already located. Now, what I think would be interesting for the funding piece, because when you do brick and mortar, now you're talking about more cost.
Yes.
To run it. Whereas a food truck's a little bit more sustainable. He could probably do a couple more. So I would say either create it where you can maybe make an IPO and people can invest in your company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do donations, and then you can expand that way. And you can expand services. I remember reading an article, this was probably years ago, about a company that had taken old school buses and converted them into care units with like showers.
I remember that, yes.
And they would drive around the community. The key thing, I'm sorry, they were RVs. The key thing was to keep it mobile, to take it to the people. They could go in, take a shower, brush their teeth. Sometimes they would try to like do collaborations where like a dental truck will be there too, or the community health center maybe will meet us. They started making a collection of what they were doing. When people take these things into their hands and they're not the government, I think we should be appreciative of what they do and build on it, because we can't change everything in one sweeping moment. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I just feel like there needs to be more programs. We keep talking about it. We know these people are on the street, but there's no programs that are put in place. How long are we going to keep talking about it?
I think that this.
So who is we? Who are we putting onus on to do this?
Well, I mean, if you
an everyday person, are we looking for celebrities? Are you looking for the government?
We're talking about a celebrity that has a food truck that is driving around in the communities, which is a great thing. Please don't get me wrong. However, they're still on the street after you feed them. And you have the resources, not saying that he has to do it personally, but collaborate. I mean, I see celebrities throw away so much money and people are still on the streets.
I see regular people throw away so much money.
Yeah,
we can all do something. But I think that Jaden Smith being so young, I think this is a beautiful thing for him to do. And guess what? He can be the catalyst, because now other young people will say, you know what? If Jaden can do it, so can I. And we don't know what he's putting together. He might be rounding up other people to do something as well. But at the end of the day, sometimes the homeless community is homeless by choice. Now, I hate to say it, but this is true. They are homeless by choice because they don't want the responsibility, or they're comfortable, or whatever the case may be. However, there are programs out there, and if it's too constricting, then they won't go for it, and they are ready to deal with things the way that they're dealing with things. It's just not comfortable for us. You know what I'm saying? But everybody needs to eat. Okay. So I really love what Jaden is doing. In fact, I've got tears in my eyes thinking about how unselfish it is that he's doing something like this. And the fact that they have all this money doesn't mean, I hate that term, give back, because I give back what, so they have this money. Yes. But they also have the influence where they can round people up to pull together programs.
That's the point.
This is where I'm like, hey, don't give back your reward. Give money to this cause.
Yeah.
I mean, and LaDonna, you hit the nail on the head, and I see this frequently. Homelessness is a choice by some people. It is unfortunately mired often in mental illness.
I was just
substance abuse issues. The way we approach it, I would say from a government standpoint, is not the healthiest way to do it, to be honest. And so it's been a lingering issue, and it's gotten progressively worse over the decades. The big influx we saw, at least in Illinois, with homelessness came from in the late 70s. They began to close mental institutions that were residential. So Mantino was one of the first ones to close. What they did was they pretty much, if you didn't have family, they just stabilized you enough and let you go. Well, where are you going? Right. You were going to the streets. Then they closed Tinley Park.
Right.
Little by little, they started closing all these, these mental health institutions, and the services even got cutbacks in the last governor administration in Illinois. There were cutbacks within mental health. So addiction, mental health issues, it's a combination of things that play into homelessness. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you talk to most homeless people, most people I talk to, the young man said it. Everybody has a story. They didn't start out that way.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you that. I mean, and you'll be surprised when you hear people's stories. You'll be like,
wow.
Some people want the help and can do it. Other people struggle with trying just to stay stable enough to do it. And as we become more of a technological type country, it bridges the gap even larger with people trying to sustain basic needs to survive. Because technology, I mean, everything from how you apply for a job, I mean, everything is so driven by technology. You even have to have technological skills sometimes. McDonald's is, you know what the resolution, I'm not mad at McDonald's. Okay, you want to raise minimum wage. Great, go ahead, raise it. What we're going to do is we're going to find a way to make ourselves more technologically efficient, which means now you go into most McDonald's, they're getting there's a kiosk. And you order, and you walk up and you tell it, I'm going to go sit at the table, here's my number, or I'm going to go pick it up. That means I can reduce the manpower that I need to work in the restaurant. So there's always an answer to it. So you really have to have skill sets to be able to. So this is more, homelessness is predicated on so many other issues.
Yes.
People just have no idea. It's just a very difficult situation to fix.
It's the heart of every family. Every family may have somebody that's in their family that is homeless or without, or struggling with mental issues or addictions or things that would prevent them from being a part of normal society. The reason that I said that I really like this story is because I did feel like Jaden would be the stepping stone to other celebrities. They tend to follow trends, so to speak, to jump in and say, hey, if he's doing this, then we can do it, and add on, and we can build as a nation, as a country, not just put that burden on the back of one family in particular. You know, the Smiths have done extremely well, but they can use their power influence to try to make things better. And maybe people in Illinois, you know, some of the celebrities here, or the people that are more well off, it doesn't have to be a celebrity. It could just be, you know, just regular individuals who are well off, be able to contribute toward helping the situation in the homeless population in Illinois. Because we see a lot of our homeless population under the Lower Wacker Drive area. And we have services with our human services and city services, and they go out and they try to get them blankets and food and different resources. So maybe this will be something that we can do to move forward, you know, to try to make a change. Because as Angie stated, we've been talking about this for years, but I think it's time to stop talking about things and being about it. And it starts with it starts with each person. Yes, maybe I donate $1, $10. You give. And there's an organization now that I'm thinking about it here in Chicago. It's called Simple, SIMPLE. It's a non-for-profit organization. I have actually gone and volunteered with this organization. This woman that's over this program, the Simple organization, her name is Talonda McFarland. She feeds the homeless. She provides clothing for them. She makes sanitary bags for them. It's really nice. It's fundamental things like that starts with one person using their resources, and they can just generate and continue to spread throughout the world. You know, I still got that faith. I keep believing for good things.
I think that's wonderful.
That's good. I mean, we have people that frequently donate, clothing and stuff to the hospital, because we'll get homeless people to come in that don't have clothes.
Yeah.
And then we kind of redistribute. We have, like you just said, a group that gives care bags that has like toiletries in it and basic stuff. Something that I love they do in my area, and I just love this, and I participated in it. It's called a micro pantry. And it was started by a local gentleman here who has a car lot, a mom and pop top lot. So what he did is he created portable pantries that he put in key traffic areas that have unperishable foods in it. So canned goods that can be opened. And so a homeless person can just walk up and take the food out they want from the pantry.
That's beautiful.
So there's everything from like, tuna or canned chicken, stuff like that. Things that are easy to prepare, of that nature. So we have actually one at the hospital. So we as staff, we bring in food and we stock our micro pantries, and they're all around the city. And I'm gonna tell you something, people actually use them. They walk up, they get food. So another way to create food and make something accessible to people.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Since we're talking about, our PSA was talking about mental health, what type of resources are available at the hospital for people to come in and speak with a counselor or an advisor and get help if they need it, or if they know someone who needs it? What are the avenues that they should go through to, get started?
It's kind of interesting because a hospital really isn't necessarily your resource for that. You got to think about hospitals are meant for emergent situations.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, though. We have turned into, I'm going to come here for everything now. It's turned into that. But that doesn't mean it's the proper resource. So within all respective communities, whether it's Will County, Cook County, or whoever's county, there is always a mental health center and a actual health center that's county-based. That's how Illinois is designed. And most other states are pretty similar. So if you reach out to your county-based system, you can go in and it's like free medical, usually dental, things of that nature. Same thing with mental health. You go, you sign up, and you can be seen by psychiatrists. In many cases, if you're not in a situation where you have insurance, they will help you to sign up for the Affordable Health Care Act. Now, in Illinois, we have two distinct ways of how you can get access to the Affordable Health Care Act, aka Obamacare, aka whatever else they're calling it now.
Cook County, Cook County Health.
Whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
There are like specific providers that are set up to take that insurance. Martha's is one, DNA is another. There's tons of them. The city of Chicago has different clinics. All you have to do is go to the website. This goes back to information at your fingertips because of technology.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like you said in the PSA, what does a person like that do when they don't have the technology? Everyone doesn't have a cell phone. And now most of the pay phones that you used to have access to on the corners, they're just gone.
No one's touching that. Ooh, pay phone?
It depends on how desperate you are.
I'll never be that desperate. That's nasty. And in the age of COVID, no one's ever.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
What's a payphone?
I knew it.
Am I telling my age?
No.
Oh, well, are we telling our ages?
Gosh.
You're joking, LaDonna. That's cute.
What's a payphone?
Speaking.
It's a phone.
Speaking about President Obama, this conversation, this next one is kind of dear to me because anybody who knows me knows I'm the biggest fan of Ancient Aliens ever.
Oh gosh.
So this is something I feel like if I was the president, and it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen.
You never know.
If I was the president.
It was unlikely that I was going to be president.
The moment I was inaugurated, my hand would it'd still be hot from touching the Bible, and I would immediately race to wherever they have the files about Area 51 and the UFOs, and I'd go through everything to find out what happened.
Right.
Did you do that?
That's why you will not be president. Because that's the first thing that you would do. The aliens won't let it happen. You reveal all their secrets. They exercise strict control over us.
Now, there are a lot of people that are going to examine your facial expressions here, every twitch, everything, and say, and of course, so did you look? Did you see? Did you explore?
I can't reveal anything.
Oh, really? Because President Clinton said he did go right in, and he did check, and there was nothing.
Well, that's what we're instructed to say.
All right.
I love President Obama. Unidentified flying objects. I don't want to accept what goes along with that.
Why?
Thinking today, alien life, something coming out. I was thinking about the cartoon American Guy. And they have that gray alien monster that lives with them.
American Dad.
American Dad. I don't want to believe that there are unidentified flying objects. Although I saw the video.
Well, the Pentagon verified. This is not doctored footage. They said it.
I know.
That's actually a big deal to admit that.
It is, but they said this went recorded in 2005 and again twice in 2015. That they have these pictures.
Yes.
When I watched the footage and I actually saw the object drop down into the ocean and just disappear, that brings a bunch of questions for me. I don't like unresolved things.
Why?
Why can't we know? Why won't President Obama?
This is what you just said. Because you're not ready to reconcile the idea that there's a higher life form. Because guess what? For all you people, I shouldn't say you people.
You say you people, so that means you
did say
higher
you
life.
I said it.
You believer.
For all you people who are fixated on the idea, and I'm not saying this to be mean, of the concept of religion, this is going to be a problem because this doesn't fit into your doctrine.
It doesn't.
There's no talk about aliens in the Bible.
It does not.
Nope. There's references in the Bible, but anyways. So for people like that, it's going to be a struggle because where do I place this in the conversation about God? Because now it sounds like you're telling me there's something different than what I believe. So I understand why people would struggle with it. And I'm not saying there's no God. That's not what I'm saying. So I don't want people to get your panties in a bunch. People get upset about stuff like that. But here's the thing. If you guys were into this kind of stuff like I am.
Oh, wow.
This very thing that was talked about, if you read historically, it's interesting. When Christopher Columbus was sailing to the New World, he actually documented, not intentionally, about being followed by lights and the lights going into the ocean.
Now, we can't believe him because he said
it was a random navigation, and they said they didn't understand it because from the navigation standpoint, they use compasses, remember?
Right.
Like they were all very confused, like, why would that be there? Just Google it. It's interesting.
Okay.
Historically, there's always been a reference to other life forms. So why is this so hard?
So do you believe in unidentified flying objects, Maya?
I have no problem with that. See, I'm an open-minded person. See, I'm not stuck on the idea of being just this awesome human. If we're the youngest part of the universe as it stands by expansion, what makes you think there's not something more intelligent than we are? Now, it may not look like us. It could be entirely different.
That's what I'm scared of.
But why does it bother people that there could be other life forms?
Because we haven't been introduced to it.
Well, you know why? Because we don't like each other. That's why. And if notice, historically, aliens allegedly have revealed themselves to other people. They got to this current group of people and said, I'm not even dealing with them. I don't want them to know I'm here. Don't tell them nothing. They destructive and they always tearing up stuff. They don't
I'm
want
with the aliens. I'm with
the
aliens.
They tear up stuff all the time.
Me too.
Don't.
So
beam me up.
Yeah. Beam you up.
Beam me up. Me and my family. Let's go.
It's like Enoch in the Bible. I won't beam up no other way. What do you think, Angie?
I think they need to beam these people that's doing all this crime up. Take theirs. Take them up.
What do you want them for?
Take them up. Leave me here.
You want the criminals to go with the aliens?
They don't want them.
Well, define criminal. Are you talking about the people that were scaling the White House? Or are you talking about the brothers that are in recidivism
Take them
they
first.
keep going? Oh, okay. I'm just wondering.
Take them first.
That's not going to happen. They're not going to take that invitation. I think it's interesting that the Pentagon was willing to admit it. By the way, there's been other people in higher ranking positions, like a prime minister in Canada said that. There's no other people have admitted that it's real. There's just no definitive evidence that you get that says until they walk out and say, because the Men in Black is based on the Men in Black, which is Project Blue Book. See, I'm a nerd. I told them I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Project Blue Book is the Men in Black. So they were investigating extraterrestrial activities or suspicious things for decades.
But do you remember the alien and Men in Black? I don't want to meet or see any.
Your neighbor, your boyfriend could be an alien for all you know.
No, he's not. He's not.
You don't know that.
You know what? I'm thinking about my last boyfriend. and I should have asked him for his other ID. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's a possibility.
You ever catch somebody doing something suspicious? You're like, what were you doing?
Nothing.
I swear I saw something. You're like, no, you didn't. You were asleep. I don't know why it bothers people. I'd be open to it.
Maya, if some blue, green, multicolored,
gray,
sweaty, gray, flabby thing came towards you, I don't think you would be open to it. I think you'd be the first one to run.
No, I wouldn't. Because the thing is, I'm not under the impression that, for instance, any alien life form would even look like us. Because if you know anything about, I told you I'm a nerd. The space thing I really get into, like SpaceX, you do realize that with space travel, we are not designed to be in space for long periods of time. Gravity, we are dense.
Right.
So the reason you see most aliens that are thin, like wiry looking, because you can't have dense bones in space. That's why astronauts.
I don't think they have bones.
Well, either way, that's why astronauts can't be in space for long periods of time because of the loss of bone density.
Yeah.
So we're made for planet Earth. I would think somebody else wasn't, so I wouldn't be freaked out. I'd be, oh, you look different. I'm not touching it. I'm not running up to it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm nosy. I'd be like, oh, look at that.
Look at that.
And all I got to do is show me a cat, and I'm all good. You got me. I'm like a kid with candy. With a cat, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, I'm with Maya. my mom has always introduced me to the idea of there being UFOs, and she's very emphatic about it. So, you know, I did entertain the idea, and I'm not new to it, and it makes sense, you know, because the universe, there's no way in God's green earth, Pluto, or any of them that we've seen all of the universe.
No,
there's no way. It's impossible.
Not even that much of it, actually.
Absolutely. So I believe that there's other people, other life forms, and they're somewhere kicking it and chilling.
Yeah.
So LaDonna, are you open to, if that is true, they want to come meet you? You're open to that?
As long as they don't want to harm me.
They come in peace.
Yeah, if you come in peace, let's do this. I want to know.
Teach
me some things. Maybe they got a better set of AirPods, you know.
Oh, you really do. Right. That's funny. Well, LaDonna, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We enjoyed you, and I hear you're ICB instructor. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure, LaDonna.
Same here. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you. We look forward to having you back. Sean, do you have any parting words of wisdom?
I do. I just want to say thank you all for joining the show. I thank our guests, LaDonna, Maya, and Angie, our hosts. We miss Thea in her absence over in Africa, but I hope she's having a wonderful time in Senegal. And I just want to say, in closing, be good to people. Be good to people. Every opportunity that you get, do something nice for someone, and watch how that will transcend across and go to the next person and the next person. It's like a commercial from the 70s that I used to see. It was a Prel hair commercial. If you tell two friends and they tell two friends, and so on and so on, spread goodness the same way. Yeah. I want to thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Lovely Ladies of Late Night, and we'll see you next Thursday. Stay tuned.